Okay, Year 12, I'm about to start exercise 1208, which is the last exercise in this series, in this set of questions, which is loans and geometric series. Finally, we're doing the same way, the same as worked examples for our methodology. So if you are having trouble, you can look at the worked examples. They're going to be the same way that I do them, or we do them in class. So rather than have a look at their questions, I'm just going to jump in and do one straight away. Now, we're not doing all these questions because we need to get on to some HSC questions and sample questions because they're much harder. So we're only doing questions, and I'll put this up here so I don't have to keep flipping between screens. We're doing questions 1, 2, 4, 7, 8, 11, 13, 15, and 16. Now I'm going to do a couple of these now. I'm not going to do all of them. We'll see how we go. So I'm going to start with question 1. Question 2 you can do yourself. It's exactly the same scenario. You're just with different numbers. So question 1. We're borrowing $3,000, 22%. So that's relatively similar to a credit card. So if you maxed out a credit card and you went, right, I'm not going to spend any more on that credit card, they can be as high as 22%. And you're going to try and pay that off in 5 years. How much are you going to pay back? So here we go. The amount that you owe after, now, this is in years. This is in years, and it's 22%. So I'm making a payment each year. So after the first year, so there's only going to be 5 of these. After the first year, I'll owe $3,000 times 1.22 minus my repayment, which we tend to refer to as M. After the second year, all of that will have earned, whatever that number is, another 22%. So it'd be 3,000 times 1.22 minus M times 1.22. So all of that amount, that's the above. But you will have made another repayment at the end of the second year. Now let's expand that out. I'm going to get 3,000 times 1.22 squared minus M times 1.22 minus M. Now I'm going to do this for a third time, but you don't need to because you're going to get used to this. The third one will be all of this times 1.22 minus another M. So again, I'll use brackets. 3,000 times 1.22 squared minus M times 1.22 minus M. And all of that, that's what was left after the second year, will earn another 22% interest, and you'll make another repayment. Now, that's going to give me 3,000 times 1.22 cubed minus M times 1.22 squared minus M times 1.22, I'll put a 1 there, minus M. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave that 3,000 alone times 1.22 cubed. I'm going to factor out minus M, and I'm going to get inside, I'm going to get a 1.22 squared, a 1.22, and I'm going to get a 1. And they're all going to be plus because I've taken out the negatives of 1.22 squared plus 1.22 plus 1. And I'm going to write, because they're added, I'm going to write that series down the other way. 1 plus 1.22 plus 1.22 squared. Now, this is only a short one. It only goes for another 2 years. But I'm going to jump. So what you would normally do is you jump to whatever time period, might be 25 years or whatever. So A5 is going to be 3,000 And what's the relationship between this number and this number? Oh, they're the same. So 3,000 times 1.22 to the 5 minus m, 1 plus 1.22 ... 1.22. Now, this is important. What's the relationship between this number and this number? Oh, it's 1 less. So that'll be to the 4. Now, this is a geometric series. And what do we got? A equals 1. R equals 1.22. N, now be careful. A lot of people will say, oh, it's 4. It's not, because you start with a 1. So it's 5. So, what do we got? At the end of the 5 years, the loan has to be 0. There's nothing, you don't owe it anymore. So after 5 years, A5 equals 0. And you got 3,000 times 1.22 to the 5 minus m times, and I'm not going to write that thing out, I'm going to say S of 5. Now I'm going to take all this over the other side. So I'm going to get m times S of 5 will be 3,000 times 1.22 to the 5. And to find m, I have to divide 3,000 times 1.22 to the 5 over S of 5. So it equals 3,000 times 1.22 to the 5 over, now S of 5. Now what was S of 5? Okay, I'm going to do this in red. So it's A, that's 1. R, 1.22 to the N, 5, minus 1 over 1.22, R, 1.22 minus 1. That's what S of 5 is. So what you're going to do now is just use your calculator. But this line is really important because it is so easy to make a mistake on your calculator. So here we go. So I've got 3,000 times 1.22 to the power of 5. Go downstairs, parentheses. Let's put another fraction there. I don't need to write the 1, you can if you want. So it's 1.22 to the power of 5. Get out of there, minus 1. Go downstairs. You don't need parentheses around that because in a fraction the vinculum separates or groups the top from the bottom. We've got 1.22 minus 1. Get out of that, put a parentheses there, press equals. Now, and I'm going to the answers to double check. I'm pretty sure we'll be right. Yeah, it's right. But it makes sense because after 5 years, and this is where you're going to see, so what was it, 1,047 and something, 62 cents. You're going to make, that's how many payments a year. Now that's going to be a bit over, that's 5,000 and something, 5,200 and something. Which means you would have paid about $2,000 in interest because you only borrowed $3,000. And you think when you get that answer, you got to think to yourself, does that sound reasonable? So for example, in question 2, which you're going to do, it's 18%, but you're making monthly payments over 8 years. So 12 eighths, 96. So you're making 96. So if you did 20,000 divided by 96, if there was no interest, you'd be paying $208 a month. But you're going to have to account for the interest. So it could be about 300, 400. It's 18%. It's quite a lot of interest. And it's over 8 years. So, yeah, you know what it's going to be like. the actual answer, I've got the answers here, is 394. So
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
Right, sorry about that. Siri jumped in. Now, I'm going to have a go at another one. You're going to have a go at 2. You're going to do the same thing, but you're going to start with A1, A2. If you get the formula by A2, and then you're going to jump down to, remember, this is in question 2, it's 8 years, but it's monthly. And remember, you're going to have to change the interest rate. You're going to have to divide that by 12, and you're going to have to multiply that by 12. I've already told you that's 96. 18% divided by 12 is 1.5. So you have 1.5% per month. Now, you're going to have to go down. So once you get the formula, like you get it as a series like this, once you get it at this point, you then jump down to A96. And you'll get a series with an A, an R, and an N. And it's pretty easy. So you go and have a go at question 2, then come back. I'm going to do question 4 now. And all right, question 4. Tree and Marge, and this is why I want to do 4, because it's a mortgage. Most of them are mortgage repayments. Tree and Marge mortgaged their house for $150,000, which means they've borrowed $150,000. The amount of monthly repayments they will have to make, find the amount over 25 years, 6% compounded monthly. Okay, so here we go. So this is question 4. A1. Now, what are we doing? We're monthly and it's 25 years, so we're going to go 12 times 25. So we're going to go up to 300. And the interest rate is 6% equals 6 divided by 12 per month, which is 0.5% per month, which is 0.005 as a percentage. So, what are we doing? A1 equals 150,000 times 1.005 minus a mortgage repayment. A2 equals all that times 1.005. I'm going to start going quickly now, as you should. Times 1.005 squared minus m times 1.005 minus m. A3. I normally wouldn't do A3, but you can see 150,000 times 1.005 cubed minus m times 1.005 squared minus m times 1.005 minus another m. Now that's going to continue, but I'm going to develop this as a series. So 150,000 times, number 0, 1.005 cubed minus m. And I'm going to turn this around. I'm going to straight away, I'm going to write 1 plus 1.005 plus 1.005 squared. Now it's written the way I want it. I'm going to, what did we have to go to? 300. So I get A of 300 equals 150,000. Always double check this number and this number are the same. So 300 minus m, 1 plus 1.005 plus ... 1.005 to the 299. All right, remember it's one less. And it's really a good idea to write what these are. A equals 1, R equals 1.005. It helps the examiner. N equals, even though that's 299, there are 300 terms. Don't mess that bit up. So, after 25 years, it's all worth 0. They've paid back. So it's 150,000 times, I forgot my 1.005, times 1.005 to the 300. 1.005 to the 300 minus m times s of 300. I'm not going to write down s of 300. It's just too much. I'm going to do it all at the end. So m times s of 300 equals 150,123 times 1.005 to the 300, which equals m equals 150,000 times 1.005 to the 300 over s of 300. Now, what's s of 300? Well, it's a 1.005 to the n, 300 minus 1 all over 1.005 minus 1. And then it's just calculator work. Please make sure you write that line. That second last line, because it's so easy to mess it up. So let's start with the fraction. 150,000 times 1.005 to the power 300. Go below 1.00, see, too many zeros, 5 to the power 300 minus 1.005 minus 1. Right, and I'll just double check that. So, come back here. Question 4. 966.545. Beautiful. 966.45. Now, the second half of the question, part B, if they want to pay their mortgage off after 15 years, well, if they do it after 15, what's going to change? Nothing except the n. So let's just pump that in. So I don't want to do that on my calculator. I want to leave that in my calculator. So 15 times 12, 10 times 12 is 120, 5 times 12 is 60, 180. 180. Let's just do that manually. 15 times 12, just in case we stuff it up. 2 5s are 10, 2 30, and 0, 5, 1, 180. Righto, beautiful. So we want to find s of 180. All right. Well, s of 180 is 150,123. So this is b times 1.005 to the 180. I'll get rid of this now. Come on. Minus m times s of 180. So m, because that's going to equal 0, times s of 180 equals 150,000 times 1.005 to the 180. So m equals 150,000 times 1.005 to the 180 over, and I just changed the numbers now. So it's 1.005 to the 180 minus 1 over 1.005 minus 1. Okay. Calculator. So all I have to do now is just go back and change all the 300s to 180. And just double check that all looks pretty good. And I get that answer. That's why I didn't want to do that other multiplication in my calculator. And that's right. 1265.79. 1265.79. Okay, I'm going to stop this here now, and I'm going to make another video of some of the more difficult ones, so you can have a crack at a few more. I'm thinking, come on, 7. Why did I choose 7? 7 because they're not paying anything for the first 2 months. They tried to make it a bit trickier, and how much is paid back altogether, so that's a good one. 8. 8's an important one. And then I'll do 15, 16. So I'm going to make a video on 7, 8, and 15 and 16. All right, good luck.